What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Seth, and we are back in some more Trove patch notes. I know I can't mess that up. How y'all doing today, though, folks? Hope you're doing fantastic and wonderful. Hope this video makes your day even better. I'm sorry that it's so late. I slept in, power went out, my alarm went off, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to hear my excuses. So I'm hopefully going to have the videos be more regular from today onward, but I did promise you guys that we were going to have the patch video today. Most likely we're going to have the video talking about that new beautiful pack coming out tomorrow. Just a heads up, it is definitely worthwhile because you end up getting quite a few really cool stuff out of it. But today we're going to be talking about the patch notes themselves. The improvements update is finally here. Nothing to do with U10. Lots of people were asking me in the last live stream I did yesterday, is U10 finally out? No, not at all. That's going to be coming out sometime in the fall. I'll have other videos that are going to kind of break down like each of the individual new mechanics that are coming with this update, because there's quite a few real cool things that we will end up getting into. But for today, this is just a big bulk of everything, so I would appreciate if you would hit that like button before we get started. Now there's some changes to Bomber Royale, not really that much in terms of the gameplay style, but just more modifications and changes to the current game itself. So we've actually got it so that kill credit is now granted to the most recent player. Let's actually hop into a game right here so I can hopefully show you guys Spectate mode, which is kind of broken. It's kind of Trove's way of spectating, so it's absolutely garbage, but at least it works, you know, like I can't complain because it's actually here. But kill credit is now granted to the most recent player to do damage to that player. So if I tag somebody and then they go into some lava within like a 15-second timer, they'll end up actually you know, I'll end up actually getting credit for that kill, and then you end up getting experience points. This is not like Bomber Royale experience or anything like that, but just experience towards your character, like leveling up. So normally I was actually advocating that Bomber Royale was one of the best ways to get experience in the game, because you could just run in and be lazy as you wanted to be, and quite literally you could just end up getting tons and tons of XP by fighting people, and that was all there was to it, right? But now you actually have to get enough credit. So you gotta get enough kills, you gotta be a lot more aggressive in your play style in order to actually end up getting that amount of experience. I'm just gonna stand here while these guys hopefully can end up actually killing me. But they also ended up making it so that the scoreboard will now show how much damage has been dealt by each player, not including lava bombs for some weird reason. I mean, I guess because the lava is not necessarily coded towards the individual. Come on, you guys, like seriously, just kill me, please. Should I just stand right in the middle or something? Like seriously, what is this? All right, fine, I'll just end up killing myself in lava, it doesn't matter. Damage done is also tracked in the metrics, so you can type /metric anytime and actually get a sneak peek of all of the different stats in the game. I don't really care about that. There is now an option to spectate, so yeah, let's check this out. Spectating. See, this is what I mean by it being Trove's Uggles way of doing it, where we still have our hotbar at the bottom. It's all black and white because we're still dead. Hopefully this is just a weird work in progress, because as far as I've heard, oh no, it seems like it's actually been changed a bit, because Merc was saying the other day that while he was spectating, he couldn't see anybody's bombs as they were being thrown, but we see everything just fine, dude. This is cool. I still wish that it wasn't this whole black and white thing, if they could end up figuring out how to make that work, but seriously, dude, spectating's awesome. They need this for Shadow Towers as well, dude. Like seriously, they need to add this mechanic to a lot of aspects of the game. It's really, really good. How can we just get out of here? How do we actually leave? How do we actually leave Bomber Royale? Oh, we just press tab again to bring that up. I wonder what that menu is on the console. Like console players, I don't know. So PS4 and Xbox players only. The Bomber Royale scoreboard no longer prevents opening the chat or the character sheet. So that was already on PC for quite a while. Clubs and adventure changes. So just a heads up, there is a big bug going on right now where the game actually considers you at the maximum amount of daily quests that you've been able to complete for adventuring, crystal caches and stuff like that. So you actually can't accept any more quests. Anytime you try to, it just says you've already done all the maximum amount and you just can't do it anymore. So hopefully that ends up getting patched right away. This is where I wish that they would just end up having it so that we could, you know, so that PC players would have these updates first before console, so that they could iron out these big bugs instead of having to wait like a week or two before they end up putting it out for everybody. Because apparently, from what I hear, if they end up doing more than one patch on console a month, it means that they actually get charged a lot for that, which is hilarious considering how broken this game is. But they must be losing a lot of money. No, not really. So clubs and adventure changes. Clubs can now be reordered in the club list, which is very convenient. You can just up, and you can't really move any of them down. You can just move them up. That's going to also adjust the chat appropriately. So that's really, really nice, because otherwise, I don't know if you guys were dealing with it. I was dealing with it where I had Jub as my second chat club, but it was still like /C5 in order to actually talk in it and stuff. So they've got that all organized and worked out, which is really nice. Primary club will always be channel 1. An X button has been added to the liked worlds UI, so we can actually I actually have a mod rocking right here, but normally we would be able to just click an X and just unlike the world, which is very, very nice, because otherwise there's lots of club worlds that you may have, you know, favorited or propped up that don't have any props anymore, especially PC players, because we're talking about, you know, clubs that have been like from the alpha days and stuff, right? Club ranks now have a presidential candidate permission. So only players in ranks with this permission will be considered to replace the president that ends up actually leaving the club for I think it's like 30 days or something like that, right? So now you can set it up and kind of set up like your second in commands more specifically, like, oh, okay, so how do we end up doing this? Where is it? Where's the presidential candidate? There we go. I don't want officers to be able to do that. Only VPs. Why would I ever want an officer to be able to become the leader of the club? That's weird. So keep that in mind, that's default. The club adventure complete PvP arena matches has been replaced by throw 100 bombs in Bomber Royale, which that's a pretty easy peasy quest, man. You just hop in Bomber Royale and just start throwing them like a madman. The Club Adventure Complete Timed Challenges has had its required count changed from 10 to 3. So now you should be able to actually get that challenge over and done with within the first hour, instead of having to do it over the course of like a million hours, right? Collect Chaos Chest quest has also been changed to no longer grant credit for Chaos Chests acquired from deconstructing, they still call it deconstructing, from loot collecting other items. So I guess if you ended up loot collecting an item into a Chaos Chest or a gold Chaos Chest, and then, you know, you could just essentially pull it back so that you could just kind of repeat that quest over and over. I didn't even think about that. And there's a new command, /adventure rewards, has been added to show the number of rewards available for various types of adventures. So that's pretty cool. Adventures can no longer be accepted if they will not grant any rewards, meaning that if you end up getting to that 220 limit of adventure quests, you're just not going to be able to accept any more quests outright, which I'm guessing is why it's all broken and everything that they did right now. So there's 2 new dragons added to the game. This is actually one of them. You wouldn't think so, but in fact it is. Fun fact is that this dragon right here, somebody actually ended up buying their way to get this thing into the game, and then it was actually ended up being made by one of the actual developers. But we'll talk about that in more detail with the pack itself. So we've got this guy, but then we also have the Dark Vault Dragon, which we kind of suspected that he was going to end up showing up. He's quite disgusting, though. Whoopsie daisy. Where do I actually have my Dark Vault Dragon? Do I not have... Oh, never mind that. That's just a mod. Don't ignore that. Where is he? Where is he? There he is, right there. Tyrannus something or rather. He's kind of a cool dragon in his body type, but his head is absolutely disgusting. Like, it really, really looks bad. But also with this update, we have Dark Vaults as a craftable item, which I don't know if these are like... I don't know. They're considerably cheap compared to the Light Vaults, which is odd. But maybe because of the fact that we haven't been able to get Dark Vaults for such a long time, now it's kind of cool that we can actually craft them. And these are 10 a pop, by the way, so that's actually not bad. Unfortunately, Despoiled Divinity and Dragonite is going to be thrown in, so technically these are time gated. But you are going to be able to find fragments for this dragon. You can loot collect Dark Peg Wings, as well as the Dark Pegasus mount itself to end up getting fragments for this dragon. Or you can end up just using a Dragon Effigy, which I would recommend because this guy's quite expensive, not only just because of those Dark Vaults, but then he's even more time-gated content with the Despoiled Divinity and stuff like that. But otherwise, you know, forge stellar souls. Like, it's kind of cool that they're putting stellar souls in the crafting components for a lot of these things, but it's not really, I don't know. This bee dragon, actually, you can end up getting by finding it out in the world, but the devs ended up screwing up. He's pretty much the same rarity as the arachnophobia dragon, if not very, very close to the starfire dragon, because you can only get these honey fragments from bee type enemies. How often do you see them? Yeah, it's ridiculous actually trying to farm this guy, like, seriously. So anyways, after those 2 new dragons, which we'll talk about the stats of each of them in another video, or actually I already have a video of this dragon individually, but the store actually has the new pack as well, so it's going to end up being right here on the main menu. It's $15 American, which is why I say that it's actually a very impressive deal, because you get a lot of items out of it. Some of them are pretty cool. Most of them, like the allies, I actually particularly like, but also you're going to end up getting that awesome dragon and, you know, this gunslinger costume and stuff, and it's a really good pack considering the price, because you get a lot of mastery out of it. But then also they end up mentioning how it's going to end up, it's kind of a charity pack, so it's got to do with the Extra Life event that they end up doing every year. So Trine Worlds Incorporated will donate $5,000 for every 700 units sold of the Trove Hardy Party Pack 1. Now, keep in mind, this is the first pack. They're going to have more than one. And I find it funny how they're going to donate $5,000 for every 700 units sold, which means that they're actually making, I think, like $5,500 for every 700 units sold, and then they donate $5,000, and they're only going to donate up to $20,000, and then anything beyond that point they just keep for themselves, which, you know, I know that Trine Worlds isn't as big a company as some other companies out there, but I do think that it's kind of strange that they are just keeping a lot of the profits for themselves. Like, you look at Blizzard, when they do a charity, they do it right. They give 100% of the proceeds towards the charity, but we're talking about Blizzard though, so I guess I can't really, you know, I can't really complain about that. So anyways, there's a disclaimer that's been added during purchases of packs to remind players that collectibles are automatically unlocked on the purchasing account, and accounts that have already purchased the included items will not receive any duplicates, which I think is actually one of the big problems with Trove, because for example, Merc, he's got like almost everything out of the game that he's ended up just crafting and getting the normal legit free-to-play way, but there's some items that he is actually missing that he can only end up buying out of the cash shop, out of store packs, and it's like he'll have to buy like a $20 pack just to get a tome. Like, it's actually ridiculous that he's got to do that. So Ice Sage has actually received a huge overhaul. We did end up having a video talking about this on the test server, so I will have an updated video hopefully coming out later this week that's going to talk about all the changes, but I'll just give you a short summary because otherwise there is a lot to go through. Your ultimate has ended up swapping around with your number 1 ability, so you can actually cast your freeze enemy ability very, very often, and your ult is actually, like, your shield is not so much defensive. So just again, for a short summary of the class, you're not a tank anymore. Your DPS, the Ice Sage, is viable for Ultra Shadow Towers, not as viable for U9, but you can actually main the Ice Sage. So if that's what you guys are wondering, there you go. That's the short summary of it. And again, I'll have another video that's gonna talk more specifically about all of the changes. So leaderboards. Weekly contest leaderboards have been reorganized to put similar contests together. The Vanguardian is now part of the weekly deal, or weekly leaderboard rotation, because Vanguard wasn't, despite the fact that this class has been out for like half a year. Weekly contests leaderboards are now on a 4-week rotation instead of 5 weeks, so it should be this rotation, this rotation, this rotation, and then when it gets to the new month, it should start all over again, which is way better. There's a new Bomber Royale weekly contest leaderboard. Based on Bomber Royale damage done. The contest is going to end up, there's also going to end up being over the week with weekly Bomber Royale kills. So it's cool that they're actually developing Bomber Royale. I would have loved to see a couple new maps added to the game though. Weekly leaderboard contest for power rank on classes will now actually give you 5 Bound Brilliance for every character that you have at 5,000 power rank. That's in the leaderboard for the current weekly rotation, right? And then also 3 empowered gem boxes at 2.5 thousand power rank. Now, this is kind of cool, but kind of bad at the same time, because we've got, like, they've taken Bound Brilliance, and they've essentially made it another time-gated resource, which I don't like where they're going with the development of this game. I've been very open about this, you know, over the past like month or two, but if we look at the track record of 2018, it's just been nothing but time-gated content. They absolutely love it, so I'm really worried about what they're gonna end up doing with U10, man, because we know it's gonna be like 100% time-gated content, which time-gated content sucks, man. It's not like a good design cycle for this game. So then we've got like a billion new styles, so you can break out those super style savers and stuff, everybody. We got 20 hats, 25 face styles, 10 melee styles, 41 gun styles, yikes, 8 bow styles, 19 staff styles, 39 spear styles, and for some reason no fist styles, despite the fact that the most recent character is Vanguard and it hasn't had barely any work done. But they keep on saying over and over that we're gonna get a new costume at U10 release, so that'll be cool, I guess. So then we're already on the additional changes, but this is actually where the bulk of the update ends up coming. So they made a couple server optimizations to hopefully end up reducing lag. Generally, I found that it's way laggier, so I don't know about that. And there's an option to make cornerstones undamageable by bombs and abilities, has also been added to the miscellaneous tab. Which there's actually quite a few really important things that have been added to the miscellaneous tab. Not only that, so let's actually turn that off so it cannot be damaged. But then also you can set up the minimum rarity type that you will end up looting. So if you end up going on this tab and setting it to shadow, that means that whenever you end up holding the pick up item button while you're out in a dungeon, you're essentially going to end up picking up shadow items and up only. Now, for old school players of Trove, this is going to take quite a while to get used to, because like I'm sitting here, I'm going in a dungeon, I'm holding E, and I'm sitting there thinking, why am I not picking up all these items? It's because this is now an option, which is very useful. Dude, like seriously. So the 50% crystal gathering potions will now increase the amount of crystal that you end up getting when a crystal pinata, lesser crystal cache, or greater crystal cache drops crystal. It will not increase the chances of getting crystal. It'll only increase the amount of crystals you get when it ends up actually dropping crystal. I want to be very clear about that because they don't seem to be very clear about that. There's also a sort button now, right conveniently in our inventory and in our personal chest and stuff like that. For those of you that don't know, there has always been a command in this game, /sort inventory. But now they've actually, you know, just added like a convenient button. So especially for console players, it's going to be like, you know, really easy and really intuitive. Players can now pick their display name colors from a list of earned colors. So if you end up opening your character sheet, clicking on this pencil right here, you can see we've got default color, which I assume is just going to be white. Trove Mastery. So if you're on the top 2,000 for Trove Mastery on the leaderboard, you can choose a yellow name. If you're top 2,000 for Geode Mastery, you can choose a blue name. And if you're top 2,000 for both Geode and normal Trove Mastery, you can choose the Total Mastery leaderboard, which is going to give you an orange name. Also, power rank has been increased for some weird reason. Like, we're a little bit stronger here on our Vanguard. Maybe it's because of my Mastery being up, but I don't know, dude. So then there's now a toggle on the box opening UI that allows players to open chests until a rare result occurs. So we want to be, oh, I got my Karma Bar mod kicked in, so sorry to say that we're not going to be able to see that. But normally you would end up just clicking a little checkbox right here, and then your boxes, whatever you have equipped, is just going to open non-stop until you trigger either Karma or just a rare drop in general. Now, I want to say, keep this in mind, guys, that if you end up doing that, and then let's say you end up clicking immediately on a different type of box, it's immediately going to start trying to open that other box until you end up triggering a rare as well. So it's convenient because you can just go one after another and just kind of triggering the rares over and over. It's going to be a lot better for console players, but you do got to keep it in mind because maybe you're not trying to open a bunch of boxes. Maybe you just want to swap over to another box and see what the Karma Bar was or something like that, right? So keep that in mind. The Geode area now actually has a map, by the way, which I'll show you guys this. It's actually disgusting. Like, seriously, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else they would have done with this area. I guess it's better than nothing, but it's pretty gross, man. Players' icons should now appear above other players on the map as well, which we can't really see right here. But I mean, look at this. This map is just kind of a mess, isn't it? Like, at least it works for people that are confused about the hub, because this area certainly is confusing, but yikes. Oh, there's also a free mount that you can end up picking up out of the store right now for probably a week or two. It's gonna be that weird cake that you see that guy rocking in the background. So opening the collections panel from the character sheet will now immediately show all of your favorites. So lots of people were complaining about this. I like it, because it means that if we favorite all of our tomes that are actually the useful ones, we can just click on our tomes on our character menu and then quite literally very, very easily just navigate. Like, look at this. These are all the tomes I ever need access to, because all of the rest of the legendary tomes are useless. And you know, because of it, it makes it way easier, not to mention you can do it with mag riders, you can do it with wings. And I personally really like that, because I feel that it's very convenient to end up actually being able to do it with the tomes more specifically. But it also means that some of your favorite mounts that you've hearted, you know, you're gonna be able to have access to those right away. So you should be able to change your mounts a lot easier. I still haven't actually favorited any of the allies, which I definitely need to do, not necessarily because of their looks or anything though, most of all because of their functionality. So it should make swapping, you know, classes and stuff a little bit easier in terms of like, oh, I want to change to this ally because I want a speed build or whatever. The marketplace now has a resell option. Again, I've got one of my mods actually rocking right now, so I can't see this, but I'm pretty sure that means that when an item ends up, you know, quite literally, you could just resell the item. Like, it's very convenient, very cool that they added that. I'm not sure whether it means it'll take it out of your inventory and put it in, or if it's just talking about when an item expires, you can resell it. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just, I'll have to mess with that one. But I'll probably have a separate video talking about that, just because, again, like all of these individual features, I think actually need to be mentioned in their own separate videos, just so that everybody knows about them. Camera distance will now be saved when switching between worlds, so we don't gotta scroll out over and over again every time we end up going to another world. The Dino Tamer's ultimate should not get stuck anymore. Fey Trickster should now have damage numbers on your Fey Dance ability. They fixed an issue preventing Zahadin, which is the I'm pretty sure that's the air dragon, right? Zabloop. Okay, of course the game's going to end up crashing from that. The game crashes like so often after this update, dude. Like, it's so hilarious how this is supposed to be the improvements update, and almost everything about it is absolutely broken. Like, I haven't had this game just crash to desktop nearly as much as it has with this all the new stuff that they ended up changing in the collections menu and stuff. But either way, they made it so that Zahadin, the dragon, is going to end up being affected by the Fey Trickster's subclass ability. They tweaked the damage size for the Vanguard ranged attacks. Does anybody know what that means? Because I seriously, I still don't know what that means, dude. Like, the damage size for the Vanguard ranged attacks. I assumed it meant like the AoE of the blast, but I've tried it and it didn't do anything. The 30 enemies, like kill 30 enemy cursed skulls, now will actually spawn 10 enemies at a time instead of 5. It makes them a lot easier to complete and a lot funner too. Like, having 10 enemies come at you at once is actually really cool. The loot collector will now also include items in the currency inventory. So you might notice when you go to the loot collector that there's going to be some random items that are going to be like, what is this? Why can I loot collect this? It totally tricked me in my stream yesterday. It was embarrassing, where I saw there was Darkneck Gears, which was from like a really old event. And I was sitting here thinking like, oh, is that a new item? But it's like, no, these are just items from the, you know, from that tab that you can just end up loot collecting now. The scroll speed for merchant stores has been increased, so if you end up going to a merchant, you can scroll through it a little bit faster. Loot collecting equipment while in build mode will no longer auto-equip that item. The error message received when attempting to equip a gem with an already equipped, a similar equipped effect is now a little bit more accurate. There's also added the additional mastery sigils, so you can see these weird purple poop, or not purple, but just the poop wings that are around me. I kind of like the design of them, but I don't get the reason that they're actually, you know, poop. Like, why? This is actually a really big change that's really good. I don't know why they haven't done this for a very long time, but plants, those of you getting into gardening, plants will now grow in any season. Because otherwise they did have certain plants that would only end up growing during certain seasons, and it was like such an old stupid mechanic that did not need to be in the game. A chocolate sponge has finally been added to the game. I don't know why they put it into the botanist here. It's not like it's that crazy, but it does mean that for builders out there and everything, you're gonna be able to just throw down the chocolate block itself instead of having to use the chocolate face of flow to end up getting chocolate. So it should clean up builds a little bit and make some of the fishing ponds look a little bit better. Double experience potion has been removed from the weekly contest rotation after the current week. It only affects the old battle arenas, so the event has been confusing for some players. Bomber Royale is affected by the normal double experience bonus weekly deal or weekly thing instead. So I don't know why they say it in that way, or okay, so they're talking about the XP day. Arena win experience, I guess, is maybe this is going to be gone after this week, or maybe it's that this is going to end up affecting Bomber Royale now. I think that's what they're trying to say, but it's not very clear, or at least I don't know what it is. Water can no longer destroy anti-gravity blocks. Does anybody even go to Geode anymore? Rare bird deco drops and epic bear deco drop. Okay, so jeez Louise, these guys. The decoration items that are like bears and chickens and stuff like that, those will now auto loot. So they will automatically go into your inventory as any build item does, instead of you having to pick it up yourself. They fixed a typo on Hornbow character. I don't know what that is. Messages about receiving 0 Geode Mastery should no longer be displayed. And finally, last but not least, fixed an issue where the skybox flickers when changing zones. I wonder if they ended up fixing the depth of field, because that was what actually ended up causing the flickering of the background and stuff like that. So let's take a quick little peek at that. Depth of field is not really my all-time favorite thing, but because it generally just kind of makes the world a little bit more, you know, blurry. It doesn't look good to me, man. Like, it seriously doesn't. I never like having depth of field or motion blur or anything like that. Anyways, guys, that's already it. So we ended up getting through this video a little bit faster than we did when it was on the test server. Again, I'll have individual videos talking about like some of the more specific features. Some of the videos might seem a bit pointless to you guys that ended up actually watching this video, but you gotta understand, the same as I do, not everybody's going to end up watching through a half-hour patch notes video to find out that they can end up loot collecting shadow items and up. So I'll have a separate video for that. That might seem pointless to you guys, but again, for the overall scheme of things with Trove, especially once this patch becomes completely irrelevant and just kind of, you know, it's in the past and it's not really anything new anymore, that's where those videos end up flying and being a little bit more useful. So we got a new Chaos Chest ally, by the way. I'll have that video come out later today. It's not really worth it. That thing is super duper expensive. Anyways, thanks for watching. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, sub, and hit that notification bell. And if you want to support me, you can always check links down below for my merch store. And you can always join the YouTube channel, or should I say become a member of the YouTube channel. I don't know. That YouTube renamed sponsorships. It's weird, but it's a monthly subscription fee. If you don't have any money, though, and you still want to support me, you can go the extra mile and check out links down below for Gawkbox as well as Solidarity app. Quite literally, you just set up an account on those sites with your phone, and then you just download various apps. They'll give you money for playing various phone games that you can then end up donating. How cool is that? Thanks for watching, though, guys. Sign over and stay epic.